I wanted to be, and then my internet messed up, and then I was working on my book, and then I got like really super zoned in, focused on my book. It's really dark because all the lights are off in my house. Like, I have power, but I turned all the lights off because when this is bright. And I need coffee. So I hope that your day is going amazing so far while we wait for my coffee. I really need one of those Keurigs that, like, I don't know, that holds like 85 gallons of water. You know what I mean? Like, because this one is nice and all. Like, okay. It's cute. It's little. It fits on the counter. But, like, I have to refill it every 2 days. And I always forget to refill it until I need coffee. And I'm like, oh, and that little blue light comes on that says, no, you can't have any more coffee until you fill me. And I'm like, oh. So I really need a Keurig that, like, doesn't need to be filled that often, because I will forget, because I often always do. All right. Also today, all of my, oh my goodness, that, holy cow, this angle is just wrong. Hang on. There we go. That's a little, oh, because I hit it yesterday. I bet you that's why it's like so jacked up. Because I dropped it all yesterday. And it doesn't help that I let my kids use my little, like, portable chargers that I've been using on the phone. And so, there we go. And so those are dead. I have to get them recharged. There we go. That's something. All right, let me share the link, because I'm just talking to myself, filling the dead air before the people come in. So you replayers don't feel like I'm just staring. Hello, Dale. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Close that. Close that. Close that. Okay, leave that there. How are you? Seisha! So, Seisha, if these YouTube lives are any indication at all, and I think they are, everyone loved the Unf Your Story chat. Everyone was like, it was so helpful. Alex, good morning, Alex. And I missed it because, like, everything was going wrong on this end. Like, oh my God, I'm backwards. I'm inside out. My collar's weird. Nothing's fitting. But I wanted to be there, but I missed it. But anyway, everyone was really happy with it. Is that the one I followed? Love from New Zealand, sister. Stay blessed. Well, thank you so much, Rags to Riches. I hope you have an amazing day. I need so many things right now. Yes, it is. I'm stalking Alex. By the way, we need to talk, she and I. Good morning, Ember. ominous. Right? Like, that's a little, I don't know. I don't know what I did to get stalker, but all the affection is good affection. That's the one. I swear Twitter, now X, is the only one that made me cut my username short. I don't remember. I think they have... I think they have a character limit, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think Pinterest is the one that most often seems to cut people's names short. Alex has my novella. I'm both excited and nervous. Eee! If I use Proton for my mail, does that mean my YouTube name has disappeared too? I don't know. Up to 15 characters? That seems really short. X is going through a bit of a midlife crisis, though, so. Not saying that it's on its way out, because there is no equivalent. There's no equivalent. This is Dana. I had a feeling. Thank you for confirming. Because I was like, I'm going to feel really stupid if I call them Dana and it's not them. But I was sitting here going, I think that... I don't know what I did to get a stalker and to be feared this week. You have someone's book. And it's someone who respects you because you write 32 books an hour. Like, that's enough. You don't have to do anything. You just be you. Hello, Kathy. Actually, Dana, I'm really glad you're here. I would like to talk to you about a couple of things. Yes. I'm trying to see, like, how much do I want to say here, because it's going to start a whole conversation and I don't want to derail the questions. But there also aren't any questions yet. But I would like to talk to you about an upcoming summit and to see if you would like to be a part of it. It's not going to be like a big summit, but I was thinking of you at the time that I started brainstorming ideas and stuff, which came out as I was brainstorming writing retreat ideas. So... Yay! So, because Jessica Cage and I were planning on putting together this summit, and we've missed it twice now. She got into this horrible car accident. She had a concussion. Her brain is still healing from it. And it kind of knocked everything off track. So then last night, I was working on my book. And I went to go look up Cornwall to find, like, landmarks and whatnot that I needed for within my book. And it dawned on me, like, there's nothing that says I have to, like, that I have to wait for Jessica to be a co-host of this thing. So I could just do the summit and then start putting together speakers who would want to be involved. And you were one of the people that I thought of. Messaged you my phone number yesterday. Oh, okay. All right. I need to check in with Judith. She also has some chapters of my novella. It sounds cool. Watching from your TV. What do you have, like the mirror my show or whatever it's called? Thank you. You're welcome. Hello, Kimmy. Check your Discord friend request. I do need to go. I'm so bad about that. I'm so bad about friend requests on Discord. Thank you for reminding me. I will go check. You are bad with Discord in general, to be fair. I really am, because it's I really am. I really do try. I really do try. It's just so far removed from my own routine. Like I don't know. I really do try, cuz I don't want to be that person who's never in there. I get tunnel vision with my client work, and then by the time I'm done, I'm like, I'm tired. I don't want to check in people right now. I'm tired. That's also why one of the reasons why my lives are in the mornings, whereas like other coaches hold their lives like in the afternoons or later on in the day. Mine are mornings, partially because at the time that I started them, it just fit best because that's when the kids could be asleep. But also because if I try to schedule them for like 3 in the afternoon, I hit my people wall too many times and I won't be there. Today is my last day with my BTVS tarot cards. I foolishly decided to switch decks every month. I don't know what BTVS is. I love Buffy. Oh, okay, BTVS, Buffy the Vampire. Ah, okay. You know, I never saw that show. I saw the movie. I think people forget there was a movie, even before there was a show. How many books have I written? Let's see. I've ghostwritten 63 books across the spectrum of fiction, nonfiction, some traditionally published, some self-published, most self-published. Under my own name, I have published 2. I have 2 that are like out there because they started off as ghostwriting ghostwriting projects. Blah blah blah. They started off as ghostwriting projects, but then those clients took off and never paid me. So, and I have this clause in my contract that says if I've delivered the work to you and you don't pay me within 3 days and send me your feedback within those 3 days, I'm publishing it under a pen name so that you don't, like, I don't do any marketing to it. It's under like a generic pen name that has like virtually no platform behind it at all. But that way it's just so that they can't even try to pretend to use the work anyway. So I have those 2 that are out there. People do buy them, which yay, but I don't market them. And then I've got a bunch of journals and like workbooks and journals and like handwriting books for my kids. Under, what do you mean? I can't tell you who my clients are. I'm under NDA for that. When introducing a character, main or side or antagonist, how do you go about it? Do you physically describe or do you do something else? So, Kathy, it is completely up to you, and it's probably going to depend a little bit on the genre and what the actual introduction was. If your character is already walking through, say, a big room where they're walking and they're kind of, eyeballing everything and their eyes are going back and forth with all the people, then when that next character is introduced, it's probably going to be a little bit slower. That person is probably going to like look up and down and take in all the details, like hair color, shoes are weird, you know, scratches on whatever, tear in the jeans, or whatever the case may be. Like they're going to look at the little details. Try to think the way you notice someone, because they're going to look at the little details, but they're not going to look and be like, oh, okay, their hair is brown, their eyes are blue, their skin is like this, whatever you call this color, with like rosy cheeks. Like they're not going to do that, but they are going to be like, okay, scuffy shoes. You know, like we notice these kind of detail. Well, some people notice these kind of details sometimes, right? We won't notice the eye color, but we'll notice the scuffy shoes. Or, you know, they're introduced and they say, hey, my name is Mike. And they're going, Mike, 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 because they're afraid that they're going to like forget the name, you know? So like in their head, they're not even listening to this person talk at all, because they're so busy repeating the name Mike, 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 to try to like burn it into their memory before they forget it. So just think like how you are introduced to someone. On the other hand, if it's like in the middle of a fight scene, say you've got a brawl going on down at the pub or whatever, huge brawl is going on, they're probably not going to have a lot of time to notice the other person who happened to jump in and flip a table. Not until the fight part is over. So you'll see like out of the corner of your eye another figure flip a table, but then it's not going to be till after the fight is over and things calm down that they walk over and they're like, hey, thanks. And then they can take notice of certain things. So it just depends on where you're going with it. I was wondering if a supernatural tarot cards just gave me the answer. I'm not trying to info dump either, which is hard. Right, yeah. One step ahead, finally. They're so good, Seisha. Yay! Will you answer my question? Hi. If you have a question about writing, yes. If you have kind of a trolley question, no, I just ignore it and then my mods take care of you. So can you at least tell if your client is famous? I can tell you that there is a really good chance for some of my clients that you have heard of them. I can tell you that much. Not all of my clients. No, some of my clients are just so beyond obscure. Probably not. And some of my clients are like really niche down, because for the past 9 years, I've been focusing in on nonfiction and specializing in marketing. So unless like, if you're into marketing, if that's part of your scene, or if you read a lot of nonfiction books, particularly in like the business strategy niche, then you would probably have heard of some of my clients. Otherwise, there is a good chance that you wouldn't have heard of them either, especially if you primarily fiction. All the mod power. I really do have some of the best mods. I've just got to say, like, sometimes they take care of things before I even notice what happened. I don't think she can, because it narrows things down more. It does narrow things down as long as I don't give any identifying information. The problem is when people start down this path of, but I want to know, I want to know, I want to know, there's always a chance that someone's going to go digging. And the problem is that like, this is one of the reasons why I don't even talk about the books that I've edited. Because I have some clients for whom I have ghostwritten books, and then I have also edited books. They were different books. But if I mention that because I do ghostwriting, as soon as I mention a book that I've edited, all of their books come into question all of a sudden. Then everyone's like, oh, but did you really ghostwrite it? Like it pulls everyone's books into question, which is why I get kind of flummoxed. Flummoxed isn't the right word. I mean, it is-ish, but like what's a combination of like flummoxed and frustrated and kind of pissed off and a little bit defensive? Like all that emotion all together when I see other editors who are like, don't trust someone who doesn't like brag about the books that they've edited. Like, I can't. Shut up. You're telling people I'm a scam because I don't have like a whole portfolio. I have a whole blog and I do these Q&As to show that I know what I am talking about. Don't tell someone I'm a scam because I don't want to pull my clients' books into question because I'm a ghostwriter first. Tremble before the fear of the mods. That makes sense. Yeah. Because I mean, if you think about it, a lot of different authors write more than one book. Now, there's plenty of authors out there who write one book because it's one very specific purpose, and then they never write again. But most authors have more than one book, even if they're writing nonfiction. And so if I come out and I say, let's say I edited Dean Graziosi's book, right? And I come out and I say, yeah, he was my client. Now, everyone looks at all of his books and they're going, I wonder if she really ghost wrote one of those. Like, it's no longer like, oh, great, I love this book. I think that the editing job is so great and I've heard of it and blah, blah, blah. It's no longer a source of like being vetted. And instead it pulls all of those books in going, did he even write any of his books then? And no, he was not one of my clients. That's why I chose him for this example. But that's one of the struggles that I have. Bam, 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 Ember. Thank you. I still think it's so funny that it says 86,000 seconds. How much of this is the payout for these things? That varies widely on the length of the book, whether or not they are traditional publishing versus self-publishing, how much content they actually have. One of the reasons why I started focusing in on nonfiction and especially social media marketing was because I was able to write more books because they were, okay, so here's the process that we go through is once the contract is signed and everything, we have a schedule of interviews, usually through Zoom because I don't like talking on the phone. So it's usually on Zoom in a video chat so I can take notes. And then I also have a transcription that is transcribing the whole meeting. I'll ask a series of questions about like goals and, what they do and so on and so forth. And then I'll start gathering content. I'm in their groups and I'm on their newsletter because I want to see how they interact with their people. Because that's the biggest thing with a ghostwriter is that we're not just writing a book, but we're writing a book that your people think you wrote. So we have to emulate your voice when you're talking to your people, not just your voice in general. Because for some reason, people sit down to talk to me and they don't sound like themselves anymore. They sound like the more professional grown-up version of themselves that they think they should sound like because now they want to be an author. They don't sound like their normal everyday self when they talk to their audience, right? So that's one of the things that I do. And then like just depending on how much, like we'll sit down and we'll go through the goals, we'll go through the book positioning, we'll go through like all of the tools that are in all my planners and stuff. The North Star, the 5 points of the North Star, we'll go through all of those steps. And then it's a matter of once we have the outline done, how much content do they actually even have for me? So at that point, they're sending me whatever, drafts that they have written that they haven't finished or voice memos. One time I had a client say, okay, I'm going to send you all my notes, but they're on papers. And I said, okay. So he sent me this box. It was like this box. When I opened up the box, it was all crumbled up cocktail napkins because he had gotten drunk at a bar and was like making all these notes all over cocktail napkins and threw them all in this box. And like, you could tell some of them he had tried to keep them in order or something, but some of them were just not. So depending on what they actually send me, that all comes into play, or what they tell me that they're going to send me, I should say, because I do the quoting before I actually look at all the things. So you can find a ghostwriter anywhere. I've seen people talking about hiring them like on Fiverr for like $1,000 for a complete book, or like $2,000 or something. The top tier ghostwriters, like the ones who are writing for like A-list celebrities, like the Hollywood stars, and like the person who helped, say, what's her name? Millie Bobby Brown, or like Prince Harry and them, like they make like $250,000 for a book. My price tag is usually anywhere between like $15,000 and $30,000 per book. I'm like in the middle somewhere. It's odd that it doesn't just say 24 hours like it does when you go to hit it, right? Grown-up self, ew. Customer service voice. Yes, that's a good way of putting it. I need to verify your social security number. Yes, not the napkins. Oh my God, it was so funny. Damn, you must be. I am not rich. I am not rich. Because here's the thing. I can really only work on one book at a time. Because there's only so many hours out of the day. There's only so many hours that I can do that. And so if you think about it, like someone might pay me $30,000 to write a book, but that book might take me almost 6 months to write. So they pay me the $30,000 and then I'm not getting paid again for another 6 months. So I have to like really, even if I have a client like on a backup list, I have to really carefully budget out how I'm spending that money on my bills or whatever to make sure that it lasts me that 6 months. And I can get lucky-ish. It very rarely works out this way though. Like I'll give them the 6-month deadline, and even when I like bust my tail to get it done early, let's say I finish it in 4 months, this is where I start getting really frustrated, because then they'll start like, well, we still have 2 months and I need extra time before I give you the review, or something along those lines. So it's not like I can just like grab a client 2 months early either. It's very weird. Other people, definitely. The people who are getting like $100,000 per book, they're still taking, say, 9 months to write that book. Like it's still, 9 to 12 months. It's, yeah. But I also don't know their lifestyle. Hello. Can you tell me about your life? No. Quote of the day: revenge is sweet, but ice cream is sweeter. Sounds like something one of my kids would have said. Do you think that India are all slums? No. Looking forward to Friday. I am, yes. Yes. I am looking, yes. I need a weekend already. This seems to be the time of day that most of the kids come out from India. There's always so many comments about India in this stream lately. Have you noticed that? They're all from India, or they all say they're from India. This last weekend was a couple days too short, right? It's like the weekend was gone and I wasn't. It's not. Yeah, that's why I thought it was weird. 9 p.m. in India right now because they're 12 hours ahead of me. But yet. No, it's 9 p.m. in India right now. But it's 9 p.m. Like, I don't know what their lifestyle is. It just feels like the past week or so, there's been a lot of people trolling and at some point in time saying they're in India. They're going to bed and sitting on the phone. That could be. I want a 4-day work week, right? Children are not gone after 9 p.m. Yeah, like, I know, I'm dumb. I mean, I'm not dumb. Just because my kids aren't on the internet at 9 p.m., that doesn't mean that others aren't. But my kids are also younger, so. Hello. I am not kidding. I am Indian. I did not realize that. I think, did you tell me and I forgot? I don't know. I didn't realize that, but thank you for letting me know. It's also YouTube's second largest audience is from India. That is true. I was like, that was one of those details that I learned, and I was like, I should have known that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when you hear a statistic like Chinese is the most widely spoken language in the world, and you're like, really? Oh yeah, that makes sense. You know, it's like one of those, oh yeah, duh, like I should have known. How did you get into ghostwriting, and how do you prove you're a good ghostwriter if you're under NDA? So most of the time, good questions, Dana. Okay, so how did I get into it? First, there's been a few different entry points. Like, I couldn't tell you like the exact moment, but there's like a few key points. So one of those key points was I started off as a freelance web developer, and who did like some editing here and there, like people from high school who used to bully me. I tried to like pay them off by editing their homework and stuff. And even after high school ended, when I was getting into like when computers were new, because I'm old, they would ask me to edit like their articles or whatever. So I would quickly like run through, edit like resumes, articles, pitches, things like that. So there was a little bit of that because I was between jobs, not because that was what I wanted to do, but because I was between jobs. And there was another time I was sitting at a cafe and I was like working on one of my books. No, even before that. I'm sorry. So I was doing freelance web development, and I had started putting together this system based on what other web developers were telling me. That was something along the lines of, you should be reselling hosting, which I wasn't doing at the time. So that when a client hires you, they're all in, like their hosting is through you. So even if they leave you to go do it on their own, you're still making some kind of residual money, things along those lines. And one of the things was make sure that after you've developed their website and you hand off all the keys and you let them go do the thing, go back and check their content after like 6 months to a year. Because if they don't have any content, they're probably really close when they get hit with that hosting bill to canceling. So, and a lot of my people, that's exactly what would happen is I would build the site and I would send it to them and I would show them how to do the things. And then a year later, they weren't writing anything. So then I would have to ask them, like, how come you don't have any content on the site? Do you need help with that? And they were like, yeah, I don't even know what to write about. I have no idea. And like, this was like so early in the internet game. Like, it was still a lot of GeoCities, like, it was so early in the game. So I can understand why they didn't know what to write about. But at the time I was like, well, this is easy. So that turned into like new content packages for them. So then I was splitting my audience because I was trying to grow my brand under Clara Ryan Hart, which was my pen name at the time, and then trying to ghostwrite and grow the brand under Naomi D. Nakashima, which is my name, as a ghostwriter. So I was like kind of splitting things, and I went, I should move into books. So then I started helping a couple of people with their books, and I hated it at the time. These were like the bottom of the barrel clients that you can think of. Like, when you think of all the people who need ghostwriters, these were like the bottom of the barrel. These were the bored people with excess money who were like, oh, I would write a book if I had time, like, just, So I was like, well, this sucks. I don't know why people do this. So I was going to quit. I went back to school, the whole 9 yards. In school, 3 of my professors asked me to help them write their books because they were like, oh, you're a writer and you understand publishing, right? Can you help me? So I started helping those 3 professors write their books and then like kind of guide them through part of the publishing. So that ended up restoring my faith, so to speak. Like, okay, I can do this part. And then came the cafe where, and at this time I had been editing a bit for a couple of different publishing houses and like some freelance stuff. And all of my best friends are authors. So like I was always in the conversation, and I was a municipal liaison for NaNoWriMo for 4 years. Like, all this like disconnected experience was coming together. But I was in a cafe, and there was another girl, like 2 other girls that were sitting, and they were talking, and one of them was about to quit writing her book, and the other one was trying to like coach her through it or whatever. And I was like, I could see that is someone I could help. Like, these bored people who just have excess money and no story ideas and whatnot, those are not people I can help. But this is someone I could help. So that restored a little bit of faith in the idea of ghostwriting for helping people share their stories. And then it just kind of grew from there. So now, as far as like, how do I prove I'm a good one when I can't really talk about my clients because I'm under NDA? I am getting a little less strict with myself about the NDA-ish. I still don't give identifying information, and I still don't talk necessarily about a specific book. But depending on the client and depending on the advice that I'm giving, I might say something like, I wrote a book on YouTube that did blah, 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 or I ghost wrote a book on YouTube. If you go looking on Amazon for books on YouTube, you're going to find dozens of them. You're probably not going to find the one that I helped ghostwrite, So I can be a little bit vague along those lines. I have my blog. I have an email list where I give a lot of advice. I give away a lot of free stuff. Like, when people hop on a call with me, they'll hop on the call, we'll talk, and fit or no fit, I will start sending them free stuff. Like, here is an outline template. Here is a video where I coach you through the outline template that is pre-recorded. Here is a memoir assessment. Here is a guide on how to turn your blog into a book. So like, they can see that I could help them because I'm actually helping them, even if they didn't decide for whatever reason to hire and pay me. All right, Ember, have a great day. GeoCities and web rings, right? But that's when I got into this idea that if I can't tell them I worked for this person, and also part of it too is, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and I started thinking about this a little bit more and a little bit more. I was like, testimonials don't sell books. Testimonials don't sell anything. We tend to think that they do. We tend to think we need reviews because everyone tells us that we need the reviews. But they very rarely actually sell the thing. They just nudge fence sitters. So if I can just get the rest of my knowledge to show people that I know what I'm doing and I can help them, then I won't need them sitting on the fence to be able to throw a testimonial at them and nudge them. I won't need them to do that. Now, I do have a couple of clients right now, as a matter of fact, who they're like, well, we should be talking about who you are, and like we should tell everyone what you do and who you are, which makes me uncomfortable, but I'm kind of like, only because I've been doing it for so long and so secretive about all the things that I'm like, But I do have a couple now who are like, it's stupid that it's secret. And then I see something like what happened to I forgot her name again, Millie Bobby Brown. And I'm like, see, this is why. It's weird. And it makes me feel uncomfortable because all the backlash that she got when she publicly thanked her ghostwriter, like, just reminded me that I need to start updating my blog more. Yes, update your blog. Blogs are more important now than ever, especially with AI pumping out so much content. And it's not all horrible content. And Google doesn't care whether or not it's AI. Google's on record as saying, we don't care if it's human or AI as long as it's good. And they're getting better at creating good content for blogs. So that means that you have to lean in even more on the experience and the expertise part, like showing what you've done and how you've done it, which is where things like my tools and stuff have helped. And it did also, Dana, it does also help that I've had a few projects in the past 9 years that were not ghostwriting projects per se. So they weren't covered by the same NDA, but with that, and it didn't show how well I could ghostwrite a book, for example. And it didn't show how much I knew specifically about writing a book, but it did show how good I was to work with, like in a whole different thing. Like, for example, in 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic, in November, Clubhouse launched, right? It launched, I think, in September of that year, but I was given I was given an invitation in early November, like before Thanksgiving of that year. It was before they reached their first, like, I think at the time that I joined, it was like 300,000 people, I think. And that's actually how I met Seisha. But so in there, Social Media Examiner then said, hey, you're in Clubhouse. Can we commission you to write a blog post about it? And I said, yeah. Now at the time, remember, I was specializing in nonfiction. And social marketing. So this was like, in my mind, this was an article that I would end up showing to people who were in the social marketing space as, look, I know about social marketing, so you only have to tell me about your perspective. You don't have to tell me about the marketing itself. So I wrote this like huge blog post, and it ended up being like the top trending blog post about Clubhouse for months and months and months. And that blog post like pushed a huge number of people over to Clubhouse. Like it blew up. So because of that, I started doing more work. I started getting commissioned for more work from Social Media Examiner. And those things all have a public byline. I also have, I've been published by Entrepreneur on freelance writing, on what it's, what happened when someone didn't pay me and things like that. So it doesn't show specific, like, here's what I did for my client type of experience, but it shows that I have experience by talking about the parts that I can talk about in other avenues. So I'm able to show people like, look, I did this. Look, I did a TEDx talk in the middle of the pandemic on the gender wage gap and how it manifests in the freelance writing world, which again, it doesn't talk about how good I am to work with or how well I can write a book per se. But when you add all these little things up, and it took me a long time. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I didn't start really getting to like pick and choose my clients until probably 2019, 2020, like, almost 18 years into it. And that, I think, is one of the reasons why, is because for those first several years, I didn't talk anything at all about any of my clients, like ever. Like I was so scared that one of my clients was going to sue me that I was like, nope, I can't talk about it. Nope. And I struggled. But then when I found these other little avenues of being able to at least show my expertise in a way that does not divulge any information about my clients, it was slow going, but it was going. I need to start my blog. Start the blog. Do we need a monthly event on Discord for writing our blog posts? We might. Or a weekly one. We might. I don't know about weekly. I think people might get really bored if it's weekly because you have the monthly email one. But I do think that a monthly blog one would be a good idea, because then we can also tie it into the email one. You know what I mean? Like we can do the blog one, and then the following week, it's the first Saturday. So let's say the last Saturday of the month is blog writing, right? And then the first Saturday of the next month would be a week later, and that one we can be like, don't forget, you have all these new blog posts that you're putting up. These are ideas for your newsletter with writing prompts. I need accountability because I keep procrastinating. Weekly because I haven't written since the beginning of January. Thanks for explaining. You're very welcome. Wasn't it annoying when your clients didn't pay you and your 6 months of work went to waste? Extraordinarily. But those weren't even like the worst. Like the worst one was when I had 2 clients back out of 5-figure contracts back to back. Like, and at the time I had like a decent savings, like it wasn't horrible. And I was getting, I was getting ready to graduate with my master's degree in psychotherapy. So it wasn't horrible. And at the time, other than these 2 clients, I had 3 other clients going on who were from publishing houses and agents who were like, we need your help because the author is not, like, writing this scene is too triggering for the author, and we need your help to coach them through it, or we need your help to write through the scene or whatever, because they liked my training as a psychotherapist. Funny that I'm not licensed, so I don't do psychotherapy, but having the training is really nice for like character development and stuff. Anyway, so I had these 2 clients, and I had this little bit of a cushion happening. So one client backed out, and I was like, okay, I don't have to chase them. I can just send them late notices, fees, remind them that I have a contract, and then, you know, go with the, I'm going to start looking into legal options thing, right? And then I dug my heels in and I was like, I'm in the right. I have a contract. That contract is in writing. And I was scared primarily because I was afraid if I went to a lawyer and said, this person paid me to ghostwrite and I finished the work and they're not paying me what they owe me, that they were going to turn around and sue me for breach of contract for telling someone else that I ghost wrote a book. Like, I was an idiot half the time. You know, like I didn't get it, right? So I was scared of that. And then I ended up like digging my heels in when the second client also bailed. I was like, okay, scared or not, like this is obviously giving people this idea that they can just disappear on me. So I did. I went to a lawyer, and that lawyer, we went after them. We went as hard as we could, and I ended up paying so much money. I ran through our savings account. I ended up paying so much money to go after them. And the judge said, yes, you cannot, like, we're going to seal these records. Someone's at my door, and I think it's my groceries. Well, the judge was like, we're going to seal these records. But yeah, you have to pay. You have to pay her. She did the work. You have to pay her. And then they filed bankruptcy. And then they didn't have to pay. Like all of a sudden, it didn't matter anymore. Like the rules were not there to help protect me, which is why now it's a lot of pay up front or it's like bi-weekly milestones depending on how long it is. Like I've completely revamped how I do my billing because it was a hard lesson to learn that like the laws are not there to protect the freelancer. Yeah, someone's at the door. Like, did you hear them? They are the only people I've ever had to go. Does it mean I can never sue someone? No, I probably can. Like, and in this case I did, but it just didn't work for me. But according to that lawyer, and every lawyer has different opinions and they argue different interpretations of the law. But according to that lawyer, I was covered because they can't sue me for breach of contract if they haven't paid me for what was owed within that contract. Like, according to the lawyer, they were like, they can't retaliate against you. Like, you're going after them for money. They have not fulfilled their own end of the of the deal yet. So they can't go after you for breaking said deal, not unless they want to pay you. So either way, you win. Like, all right, it is 10 o'clock. That person at the door was very pushy. I think it's groceries, and I think they're early because they like rang the doorbell like I don't know how many times and then pounded on the door. And I hate it when people do that. I don't like it. I'm going to go. Y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. Thank you for your questions. Hope you have an amazing day, and I will talk to you tomorrow, okay? Go get all the words written. Bye.